You see different animes with ufotable and their fight scenes, you're like, this is a ufotable fight.
They just murdered that last fight scene.
Like something was different. Something is different about this. Why does it look so cool? Why does it look so different from the other shonen that I've watched? You can see this super fluid movement of just, it's not 12 per second, it's 24 frames per second. That's where AI comes in. Right. That's where CG comes in. This idea of using more than just drawing is what's going to make you create something that stands out a little bit. You know, Zach, you didn't expect me to have the cup of coffee this morning.
I did not.
This afternoon, morning.
This noon.
You didn't expect me that. You know, you a lot of things that people expect from Anuki. They expect rap edits from the 90s. They expect anime retweets on their timeline. They expect a lot of things from me. They expect hot takes. They expect
hot tweets.
Hot tweets. Yes. Those go hand in hand with the anime retweets as well. But one thing you didn't expect is for me to come up with a cup of coffee.
I did not.
That's good because I like to keep you on your toes, Zach, as I've mentioned before in the past. I like to keep you on your toes. I like to keep the people on their toes because every time, as soon as I'm predictable, Zach, then who am I?
You're just a guy.
Exactly. I'm just a guy, but I am just a guy. And you guys are watching on Education Station. Yes. Welcome back. Episode, I believe 53 or 54, one of those two. I'm here with Zach.
Hi.
And we are an Education Station, as I've explained before, an ed podcast. It has been a little bit since we've recorded, but actually maybe not. We skipped one day, but I mean, we're still on schedule, so it's fine. And we had a backlog, so we're okay. Zach, I believe you have some show and tell, I believe.
I do have some show and tell.
Yes.
So I did a thing. I was talking.
You did a thing.
I talked to you about this on the show a while ago, probably back in January. How I was getting another tattoo. I did it.
You did it.
I got it.
Oh my God, that's
Hold
me.
up. I'm gonna third.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
For the autofocus. Look at that.
Look at that. That's me. I believe we explained that, right? That was me. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's me playing that's my hand. This is it right here. Doing this. Or this.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's one hand, right?
Yeah, it's only
It's
one hand.
this. Wait, is it my right hand? That would make sense.
Yeah.
It's this. Doing this. Some sort of major seventh chord, because that's all I do. That's the only thing I have to my repertoire.
Actually, now that I think about it, you very well could be.
Of course I am, Zach. What else do I do, Zach? I don't know any other chord. It's just my major seventh chords. Come on now.
That's so funny. Yeah, so I spent like 3 hours yesterday getting stabbed repeatedly. But it was worth it though. Like this ended up turning out way better than I could have thought it would.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look that big like on camera or like in pictures, but it's
pretty, it encompasses basically your entire forearm. At least that side of it. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
And now there's just like a tiny little gap right here that I need to fill.
Yeah. Maybe like music notes, or maybe like a I don't know, like a staff or something.
Yeah.
Of a collection of measures of, I don't know.
Just put
just
the
a
lick
tune
there.
of a tune. I've seen some people have like tattoos, like maybe on their chest. That's what that's called. You can tell I just woke up. The of like music sheets, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe not music sheets, but like an excerpt of some sort, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. I thought that was a cool idea. And I look at him like, can I decipher the hell fucking no? I could pretend I do.
You're like,
oh, Moonlight Sonata, yes. Oh, yes. Very, yes, I love Moonlight Sonata. You know, I can't do that slurping sound, especially not with hot coffee. I'm not good at it. But with like a cold beverage, I think we can. See, that just sounds like you're burping because of the small opening and the air movement. You know, it just sounds like that. Or like when you slide out a thing that makes contact with something soft and it makes a farting noise. But
okay, so I think we need to get into the meat and potatoes.
oh, we probably should. Yeah, you're right. We're done playing around.
Yeah.
Y'all know this was coming. We're gonna talk about Normie Slayer.
Season 2.
Do, dose, to, chew. It had to happen because I watched it. I watched it all in one night. Well, at the time of this recording, and I hate dating the recording, but I have to because it needs to happen. We are a little late, but I caught up to episode 10 the night before episode 11.
Mm-hmm.
And to my understanding, there has not been another episode, right? Because that was the last episode.
Yeah.
So my coworker was right on that. So yes, the day before episode 11, I caught up in one night from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. or 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. rather.
As one might.
As one does. And as you can see, I have not recovered from that yet. But I've done it. And then I was like, that was fucking lit. And again, to preface this, even though this was the preview of the previous video, I hadn't even watched it yet. But Zach, I was right.
You were right.
I was right. Of course I was right because I'm always right. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
You're like, I am a god.
I am better than normal people. You know that guy up there, Zach? Not up in the clouds. Up in the 100th story tower looking at the peasants. Business suits, Zach. Dell XPS 13s, PowerPoints. That's me. I'm in the Demon Slayer boardrooms. That's me. I'm the guy. I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, man.
That's me, Zach. I have had 2 sips of coffee.
And you're like, I'm hyped. Dude, okay.
Is he just playing a character for content?
No, he would never. But dude, yeah, it's so funny. I brought this up the last time we talked about Demon Slayer, which was, the last episode.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I should have had a Demon Slayer thing behind me. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's okay.
Nah, it's fine.
That's fine. It's fine. Nino can stay. She's my AVI right now. Anyways.
Anywho, so I told you after I finished episode 10, I was like, bro, you were fucking right.
Mm-hmm.
You were like, I smell budget.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that is budget you smell because they just fucking murdered that last fight scene. It did last, what, like 2 episodes or something?
Did it? I think more because like including the first couple fights with her sister, with just Tanjiro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right.
I would. I don't know if I consider that the final fight, but I mean, it was all under one fight. Although I would curse it. Okay, I should say right now, spoiler warning if you haven't, but I mean, it is Demon Slayer, so and I was late to the party, so chances are everybody's already seen it, so, but yeah, spoiler warning just in case, but we are talking about season 2 of Demon Slayer. Give it a watch, even if you're an anime elitist, even if you don't watch anime. Give it a shot. It's a show for everybody. It's a show for anybody and everybody. It's Demon Slayer.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah. It's just great orchestral music and fighting bad demonic demons with sword cut head off. Sword hit head,
Sword hit head come off. Demon go bye. He get Thanos snap. That's basically what Demon Slayer is. Yeah, it's just
we're joking, by the way, but are we though?
It's like,
but are we though?
It's just enough of a joke to where you're like, haha, funny, but it's real enough to where you're like, is this guy being a dick right now?
No, I love Demon Slayer. I watched season 1. I didn't start what. Well, I should phrase that. I didn't start during the first episodes as explained. I started when everybody was freaking the fuck out about episode 19, right? And I was like, okay, I gotta watch it. And I watched it, and I was like, oh my god. No, wait.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. And again, to set the scale, you haven't watched this, Zach, but I watched Sword Art Online. So my bar is pretty low as far as mainstream animes that I enjoy. Like I'm pretty chilling, right? I'm pretty open-minded as far as anime goes.
Right.
And Demon Slayer, just whatever they did, however they did, it's just the anime for everybody.
Right.
I bet my parents would watch Demon Slayer, honestly. I bet your parents would watch Demon Slayer.
Fair.
Dude, like,
and Demon Slayer is one of those shows where like it's captivating to where you want to keep watching. And like when we watched season 1 together, I feel like there was a couple times where we would just sit and watch more than the allotted 3 episode rule, and then we would just kind of like keep going and just like binge watch it. Like I think it was the last oh gosh, the last like 5 episodes I think we banged out in one night.
I think so, yeah. Because we needed to.
Yeah. And so when
Because there was no way to stop.
yeah, and honestly, like I liked how season 1 led into the movie, and I like how the movie led into season 2.
Mhm.
Like it was just so fucking cool.
Yes, it was really good. I think I explained it. After watching the movie and the train episodes, I realized, I don't know how to quite recommend whether to watch one or the other. But I think, we just said, just watch. No, I think the general consensus would be just watch the movie and you'll be okay.
Mhm.
I think watch like the first 2 episodes. No, the first episode of the train arc and then the movie. Because you get that little first bit of Rengoku.
Yeah.
And then watch this movie. I think that will be it. Because I think the entire first episode was not in the movie at all. So yeah, that'd be perfect. Just the first episode of the train arc, and then you don't have to watch the rest if you don't want to. Then I would say the movie, because again, a lot changes after that as well. So it's a little difficult.
You know what I just realized? Like you pulled up pictures and
I'm putting it on behind me, Zach.
oh, sick.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I'm working on right now. So you go ahead. I have to murder the photo because our ISO is, although it's super freaking low, the monitor behind me still gets murdered for some reason. But nobody cares about that. Nobody knows what that means. Anyways.
Anywho, looking at this picture,
oh, you can.
There we go. Looking at this picture though, this just made me realize how fucking dark this season was.
Oh yeah, dude, it was
Like-
fucking nuts. I'm surprised I never got spoiled on this. Like honestly, I've seen screenshots, but never anything too crazy. The closest to a spoiler screenshot I got was during Tendro when he was kneeling on the ground and he was engulfing in the poison.
Mm-hmm.
And then behind him was a background of flames everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So that was the only thing I saw, but it wasn't enough for me to like really know what was happening.
Right.
Like, I mean, sure, town on fire, and I'm watching it, and they're in a town. I'm like, oh well, fuck, it's probably gonna be on fire. I mean, this is true, but there was a lot more to it. So, yeah, no, this season was fucked.
Yeah, and I think it was really interesting the way that they decided to go about the process of them getting into the entertainment district and them kind of going undercover in those houses.
Zach, sorry to cut you off, but how did you feel about the first couple episodes? Because I feel like we definitely need to talk about that. The first couple episodes that made people think this season was going to be the worst season of Demon Slayer.
I enjoyed it.
Even though there's only 2 seasons. Oh, worst season. There's 2 seasons. Chill, bro. Anyways, go ahead.
I thought that it was really funny, and like it was really captivating as well, because you were able to see all of the main characters in a situation that you had never seen them before. And so I thought that was really cool, and being able to watch all these characters just completely out of their element. And of course, Tanjiro just being an absolute mad lad and running around cleaning the house and fixing stuff and doing what he does best. And Inosuke just being sexy as fuck.
Yes. Yo, I would fuck Inosuke, I'm not gonna lie. I'd let him fuck me. Did I get in there? No, I did.
I it's so funny. I switched to your camera and you weren't there.
And I just wasn't there. I'll say it on camera too. Bro, I'd fuck him. Oh my gosh. Yo. Hear me out now. Now, hear me out. All right. He's a hot dude. You know what I mean? Like, what do you want me to say?
He's a specimen.
He's quite a specimen, bro. I would give him my specimen. Like, he's quite a lad, you know? Anyways, now that we lost all the dude viewers and we've gained female viewers, hello. I also like Yunosuke. But you know what I don't like, Zach? I don't like Zenitsu. Still to this day, Zach. How do you feel about Zenitsu as a character?
I think that...
Well, maybe don't like is not the right word, but he's not grown on me yet.
I think that since we had an opportunity to see him more when he was asleep...
Yes.
Like, we were able to see just how fucking badass of a fighter he is.
Uh-huh.
I guess it kind of outweighed the whiny bullshit of the first couple episodes, but it was just it was just like a little. It was almost too much at one point, and like at the very end, you know, when he wakes up, and he's just sitting there like flipping his shit,
just bawling his eyes out and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It's like he's really, you know, when he goes to cool mode, right? That's the part of it, right?
Yeah,
you know. But I'm just like, I don't know, dude. It's not. I don't hate him because if anything, he plays like although he's a whiny little bitch, he plays like kind of the straight man.
Yeah,
if that makes sense, because in Japanese comedy, there's two main characters, but we'll throw in a third because there's three of them, right? There's the one that's there's the character that plays like the crazy role, that throws chaos everywhere, which would be Inosuke.
Right.
There's the pure Tanjiro, of course, the airhead, and then there's the straight man who's like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? That's basically I'm basically paraphrasing, but as someone who enjoys Japanese comedy, that's just what Japanese comedy is.
Yeah.
It's just stick and poke. It's like punchline. Like, that was fucking stupid. Why would you say that? And then it proceeds on and on. Yeah. I love that personally, but it's pretty, that's basically how it goes. And I respect that for Zenitsu. But what I don't respect is how his, like, I get his story from season 1. I get it.
Yeah.
You know? And he only has one move and he's really fucking good at it. And that saved everyone a bunch. And honestly, him doing said thing at the very end for the final strike was pretty badass.
I agree, yeah.
But I don't know, dude. I wish he was just, he could at least do a little bit while he's awake. That being said, though, when he stopped I forget her name, but the girl,
Demon Lady?
Yeah, Demon Lady. Yeah, her. Yeah. When he stopped her from scratching that little kid's ear, though, that was pretty cool. I respected him for that. But just overall as a character, he's not grown on me yet, which is sad because I know for some reason, Zach, a lot of people like him, like as they're like top 1, and I can see how you can like him, but as your top 1, I don't know, dude. Tanjiro is so cool, and Inosuke is so hot. So I don't understand. Like, if no matter what gender you are, you have why Zenitsu? You know?
Yeah, it's just a weird situation because it's almost like, yeah, just step directly in front of me. That's cool.
I have no chill, bro.
Like, as a character, like I understand. His goal is basically to kind of like, his goal as a character is to like almost represent what a normal person would react to these types of situations. Like, he just woke up from a fat nap and he just like fucking was buried in rubble, and he's like, what the fuck is going on? Mm-hmm. But he just like absolutely turns it up to 11 to an extent that it's like, bro,
no, every time he like cries,
bro,
I think every time he cries, I cringe a little bit inside,
Yeah.
I mean, I understand as a normal person, but he's gone through like all the when then like the first episode, we saw them with their shirt offs.
Mm-hmm.
Or shirts off. I've replaced the S, and they're like buff as shit. Mm-hmm. I'm like, damn, bro. First of all, nice. Second of all, and you're gonna still act like that? I know I'm reading too much into it. I don't care that much, I need to say. I just don't understand why he can be one's favorite. And I'm in favorite, like top 1 of Tanjiro and Inosuke, Shinobu. Of all these great characters.
Yeah.
Rengoku, Uzui, why? Am I missing something? Do I have to read the manga to find out? I'm planning to read it though. My coworker really likes Demon Slayer. She's gonna let me borrow the manga and I'm gonna read it physically. So that'll be fun.
I need to read the manga, but I'm see.
Let's read it together, Zach. We'll read like a volume a week, and then we'll come back here like it's book club, and we'll be
So this is what happened in this chapter.
How do we feel about this chapter? Everybody turn to page 271. How did we feel about this panel? What did this make? What emotions projected, or what emotions did you feel during this speech bubble? You know, that would be so cute, but that's pretty funny.
Dude, you know, I don't know. I feel like if I read the manga and then I got to the point to where the show hasn't gotten to yet, I would just keep going and then finish the manga. Mm-hmm. And then I would just kind of, you know, it wouldn't have the same, like I wouldn't have the same reaction as I would if I was watching the show for the first time, I guess. Just because, like, I don't know, there's just something about the performances that the voice actors do.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
You know, it's like you can't get that from reading speech bubbles and stuff. But
I understand that, but go ahead.
It's, I don't know. I feel like a good way to go for me would be to watch the entire show and then read the manga, just for the sheer fact of, like, I don't know. I like the anime a lot. And so anything to, like, tarnish that would just kind of be like, oh. Like, if the anime ended up doing something weird as far as, like, following the manga or something like that, then it would just kind of be, like, a little bit disheartening. Like, I would rather know about that after the fact than as I'm actively watching it.
That's a good point you bring up, because, you know, as I've explained before, that's definitely not an uncommon occurrence.
Right.
But I would say that it would actually, in fact, enhance your anime experience. Now, let me explain. It's for the same reason why I read ahead in Slime, even though it's like my favorite series at the moment. And there's an anime, and the animation is awesome, and the anime is awesome, but I still read ahead. Why is that? It's simply because, one, I'm confident they won't stir from the manga too much, and I'm confident that Demon Slayer won't do as well. At least I haven't read it yet, so I don't know. But I can't say that for every show, so we'll leave that as an unchecked box for us now, just in case. 2, while even though you may expect it, it can actually hype you up for what's to come. You could say, oh my God, they're going to do, like, if you're, let's say, a manga reader for an anime that maybe is just airing, or they just finished airing and they announced a tentative season 2. You've been reading the manga. They launched season 2 with the key arts and the visuals and what the arc they're going to do, and you're like, oh, they're going to animate this arc?
Yeah.
And you get hyped. There's that factor.
That's fair.
And it's a very strong factor, because I felt it too. Like, not even just for anything hype, even for a mundane anime, like quintuplets. You guys know exactly what I'm fucking talking about. I just changed the wallpaper, but Nino and a Bokuben, these are kind of rom-com shows. So not too heavy as far as story goes, although quintuplets manga and the Bokuben manga, those two, unlike their anime counterparts, are legendary. But I read ahead anyways. Because, like, Bokuben, basically, I think I explained it before, but the basic premise, it's a really just basic rom-com type thing where it's like there's 2 geniuses who are really bad at one subject, respectively, and there's a tutor, and he tutors them. And then there's just rom-com stuff happens. And the anime reflects, like, a really, not poorly, but just like, there isn't really much happening. It's just kind of like you get what you come for, right? Just like cute girls doing cute things, having experiences with dude, haha, that type of thing, romance, kind of light romance, if you will. But the manga goes really far into, like, their characters, into their stories and stuff. And you're like, oh my gosh. And then I keep reading, right? And I finished the manga. and then the season 2 happens, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to animate this part. They're going to animate this part. So that is one of the biggest ones for me. And that happened with Slime as well, because as I was reading more into it, as I've explained with Slime, first season was like, ha ha ha, Slime makes community, you know, so cute, so funny, so dorky, so quirky. And then season 2 was like death and bloodshed and you know, and it's fucked. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then they announced season 2, or they mentioned season 2, and I'm like, oh, no fucking shit. No way. So yeah, there is that aspect. So but I get it though. I get there is that notion of like they can fuck up this like the feeling for me if they fuck up the anime, if they change the direction of it. But to my understanding, I haven't read the manga yet. I feel like Demon Slayer has not done that. And to anybody that I know have read the manga, they have not expressed such feelings yet. You know,
Right.
I think before season 2 got announced, even what it was going to, or no, they got announced, but not much happened, just like a trailer or something. That was when Christian was here, and Christian reads the manga. And he mentioned that, you know, the entertainment arc was going to be super cool, you know? So he had that preface going into it. And I mean, we can read the manga panels and all that, but then imagine how he felt when he watched the anime, you know? Imagine how he felt when he watched that! You know?
Yeah.
It adds that much to it, because even if I read the manga, I still would not be expecting that, at least not his performance.
Right.
And I agree, the performance is everything. The performance is key. All the voice actors in this, and this is just not hating on dub or anything at all. It's just the level of Japanese seiyuu is just too high. It's just too high. They're too good.
You know, for me, I've always, like, ever since we started watching anime together, like, I've always just had such a deep appreciation for everything that goes into an anime, because it's like, homie, the OST, first of all,
of course.
Okay, and this is, and I love how we've barely talked about season 2 of Demon Slayer, but like, and to tie it to Demon Slayer, like, the music that they used for that fight it was so good. And it was like, you know, it just brought out that like adrenaline where you're like, oh my God, what is happening?
I know.
And you know, the performances of everyone in the cast was just absolutely amazing. And you were able to really, really get sucked in. And when it seems like there's a ton of stuff happening and it seems very chaotic, like in that fight, it's still,
I mean,
you still feel like you're along for the ride.
Yes, of course.
It's like you have an opportunity to have a front row seat to this crazy thing that's happening. Everything around them is on fire, and it's just, and when they are able to portray fire in a convincing way, like, that's one of those things. Fire and water, two of the hardest things to animate, like, just in general. They did both of those things fucking perfectly. And not only that, Demon Slayer is one of those shows where they make it so that you can empathize with the people who the main protagonist is fighting against. And I think that that's one of the most compelling things about Demon Slayer, is they will humanize these demons and make all of us realize, like, they were once people. And, you know, they ended up becoming a demon for different reasons.
Right.
And so that just ends up giving you a whole nother layer to it, you know? It's like, oh my God, it's so good.
Nice.
I
just wanted to see I just wanted character names. All right, cool. Dude, I don't even know what to say. It's like, actually, okay, I've seen a lot of anime over time, you know?
Yeah.
I've seen a lot. I've seen, you know, you laugh, everybody will laugh at me about Sword Art Online, but you cannot look at me in the eyes and say the animation in Sword Art Online is fucking top notch.
Right.
Because it's also A1 Studios. It's also Ufotable. I think Ufotable helps them as well. I've recognized a lot of Ufotable type fights. Ufotable is the studio in charge of Demon Slayer. And as I've explained in the Akaza fight, as well as the, this show as well, you know what a Ufotable fight is. You don't know, Zach, yet, but you see different animes with Ufotable and their fight scenes, and you're like, this is a Ufotable fight. Like, it's like just this one take, this one shot, moving camera moving back and forth. A lot of CG, a lot of 3D. The CG work, the 3D work, Zach. So I want to get into this, but I want to get into it later because this is where editing nerd comes in. But I don't want to do that yet because I have a lot to say about it. And it's a lot more than just, oh, animation's so cool, brr. You know, a lot more than that because they did a lot of cool tricks. So if you want to listen to me break down their anime from my point of view to what I believe they did, stick around because I'm going to drop my fucking knowledge. I will, I promise you. Cool. Anyways, what was I saying? The
Ufotable fights.
Ufotable fights. Yes, the studio. Like I know I've been around the block, Zach, because I've explained, Zach. I know what's happening. I know what their budget, what they do with these things. I know how these things go. So I don't know where I'm going with that, but basically, I'm just saying I've been around here. I know a good show and a good show, and this is a good show. I watched Sword Art Online, guys. I know what a good show is. I know Sword Art Online isn't a great show, but it's fucking sick. This is a great show, and it's sick. So the reason why I want to bring this up is because I want to just talk about how dark this show was. As far as like the themes that it chooses and the way it just didn't really hold back on animating. Like, this is the reason why, because I was looking for the sister demon, which fuck cookies. Yes, sure. Okay, nobody can see. Nope, not this one. This one. Here we go. Daki. That's what it was. I should remember that. And is Doma the guy? No. Gyotaro. Okay, so. Oh, Sawasho Miyuki plays her? Oh, I had no clue. That's awesome. Anyway, sorry. I'm sorry. See, I'm really into Seiyu. You can tell.
Yeah.
I really like them a lot. So, when I explained before, Zach, how watching the anime, nice. I watched, how nobody really... Or we're reading the manga, right? So we talked about how reading the manga might spoil things, or maybe not spoil things necessarily, but might ruin this show. But as far as my experience with the anime, I don't think it would do that. I think it would enhance it. Here's an example. When you're watching the introduction of Gyotaro, or even just him as a character, imagine reading him, right? This creepy guy, skin deforming, scratching his skin till blood comes out and his all that stuff. You look at the panels and the artwork and it's probably absolutely fucking gross and stunning and insane and really, really good. And he has this long dialogue speeches and everything, and you really feel like you have that encompassing character. And then you watch the anime and you see him moving. You see him digging into his face, into his eyeballs, and the voice actor that is not listed into here, unfortunately, but how well he did with his speeches. Like when he first came out of Daki's, or one or the other, I don't know. I guess, yeah, technically when he first deformed out of Daki and he went on that speech with Uzui. Oh my goodness. The way the voice actor portrayed him, the way he articulated the way he spoke to this creepy, this absolutely disturbing character. The way he spoke and the chills I felt as what I'm watching this go down. I'm like, oh my God, this guy is fucked. This guy is before he even fought anybody, this guy was going to be fucking nuts.
And I love how he just made you feel uncomfortable just from him being on the screen. Like he didn't have to do anything. And there was a long time where there was just that back and forth happening. And during that, it was just like every single time he would talk, I would just like, oh yeah, it was just, he was such an unnerving character. And the fact that they were able to portray that in such a convincing way to the effect of literally, I was sitting there when I was watching it and I was like, I don't like listening to this guy. I don't like listening to him talk.
Yeah.
Because it was just so unnerving. And like,
I've explained how much I love self-dialogue, like really long patterns of speeches by one character.
Yeah.
Like when Muzan did it in season 1 when he basically when he first got introduced and was scaring those drunk people in the alleyway. His monologue to that frightened woman. Those are my favorite because it really like it just in your face. It's right here. This is what this character is. Even though he doesn't explain himself, he doesn't do anything like that. He just speaks. He just talks for a very long time to you or to a character, to himself, to whoever. He just speaks. And with that much, you only have what the voice actor's performance is able to tell you.
Yeah.
The way the voice actor portrays this character. And that is why I just have to stand up and give a standing ovation to the Japanese voice actors. It's not because English dub is bad. It's because Japanese voice actors are just on a different fucking level. It's not fair. It'd be like a nice sugar cookie to a super melted chocolate chip double battered fucking creamy ass cookie right out of the oven. They're both good. But that double chocolate chip motherfucking brownie stuff fucking I don't even know, dude. Come. It's too, it's not fair.
Yeah.
So that's why I say that. But I'm just defending right now. I'm defending myself. But that performance is my favorite. Those just long speeches. The speeches are my favorite. Daki has done some. Gyotaro has done one, of course. Muzan did one. Uzui, I don't know if he did one necessarily, but his character, he kind of portrayed throughout the entire season, and as well as showing a lot of background, so it was a lot of fun. And you were able to find his character pretty easily. Tanjiro has done some. Inosuke has done some in a couple of his own ways. So I love those. So I just wanted to tip my hat to just Seiyu performances basically, and why they shouldn't be necessarily regarded as compared to dub, but rather just respected for how good of a job they do. And if you ever watched how they do things, as I've explained before, right, the way these performances goes, although it's a little different during COVID times, of course. But what would happen is there's just a room, and excuse me, they're all in the room, and there's just a collection of mics. And when it's your time to speak, you step up to the mic. And you basically have a performance together, like you're on stage.
That's so cool.
You say lines back and forth to each other. That's how that goes, and that's why it's so natural. Because in English voice acting, and I believe C-Dog VA did a video on this recently. It's like an hour long too. Of like he went into or he basically did a crash course on the Seiyu experience. Seiyu means Japanese voice actor. If you haven't caught that on yet, sorry, I don't know if I explained that yet. But that would be that occupation, because I wouldn't necessarily say Japanese voice actor, because that doesn't do them justice. They do a ton more. So that's why I use the word seiyu, because they're more or less idols, honestly, at this point. But that's besides the point. I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but you should definitely watch the video. It's very long. You, Zach, as well as the people, if you're curious about how that stuff goes, because he goes into like specialized schooling for voice actors who've been in these schools for years, some who have already gone into the profession and then go back into these schools to learn more, taught by voice actors in the industry right now who would voice your favorite characters, and people and voice actors who do voice other characters in that class to learn more with you. Your role model, the celebrity you look up to, right here, right next to me, Zach, learning with me. And these exercises that they do, and the back and forths that they do, and singing and dancing and performing, you'd be like, they're voice acting? No, Zach, they're performing. This is no more than just an actual actors performing dramas or drama actors play. I don't know what. This is just drama class.
Yeah,
And then he also went into the booth and how you would record with an actual Seiyu who actually voiced the main character of a girl that's in an anime that's airing right now. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty recent too, and he voiced in Japanese too, so it's pretty funny. But he did that experience, that back and forth speaking, that performing type of voice acting that he did with this Seiyu, and is very engaging. I recommend watching it. It's a little I will say, because, you know, he doesn't really speak a lot of Japanese, and there's a lot of times where he's just making a joke of himself, which is funny in its own sense. Could be a little cringe, but that's kind of part of the joke. Just be a little wary. Definitely recommend giving it a watch because it's very insightful, especially whether you're interested in voice acting or you're interested in how, or I don't know, maybe just the messages that they like to say. It's just a really big thank you message to say you because I have a lot of respect to them. I know I've been talking for a lot, but I really respect them like a lot. I really do.
I mean, you're right. They are performers, and you know, to
the content creators. I'm sorry. That was not.
Really. I have so much respect for them as well because the fact that the only thing that they're able to use in their performance is their voice. And I've seen a lot of voice actors who end up like just running around in the booth and just like are like putting a physical representation to what is going on and what their character is doing. And so when it ends up getting translated to the animation, it makes sense.
Yes.
And Gyutaro, I don't want to know what he did. I don't want to know because like the depravity and like, you know, the disgusting chilling nature of his character. I don't want to know because I feel like it's illegal.
Or no, he's just fucking goated, you know. I thought he was the same voice actor as the or the same seiyuu as Demon Bro from the train, the hand sleepy boy. I thought so. I felt like he was the same. It doesn't say on here on MAL that who voices the Gyutaro, unfortunately, which maybe it's not, just hasn't been updated, but it should be. But yeah, whoever that is, I felt like it was the same person. They really sounded similar. I don't know, but I'm not sure though.
Dude, it's so crazy.
So I didn't want to. Okay, we kind of brushed over a little bit, but I did not expect. So I've watched first season of Demon Slayer train episode. You know, and we've already talked about how dark Demon Slayer gets, right?
Yeah.
But season 2 was just quite a bit. You know, it was pretty wild. Like,
I mean, look at the picture behind you.
Yeah, it says a lot. And it says a lot, dude. Okay. Random side chat. We've been doing so much, but the weapon, Gyutaro's weapon, the sickle, that's so creepy. Oh my gosh, that's such a creepy weapon. A sickle. Ah!
It was so.
That's so disturbing. Like not a sword, not a spear, not a traditional weapon. It's a sickle, Zach. That's creepy as shit. That's creepy as shit. That's horror movie type shit.
Oh God, and I think we are going to end up going into a little bit of spoiler territory. Maybe
I already mentioned in the beginning. Yeah, everybody knows. It's all good.
Yeah. But when Tanjiro gets,
dude, I thought, you know how I feel about that shit, Zach. When that happened to me, I was like, oh my gosh, oh my god, that I can't even imagine. I've never in my entire time of watching anime, even like fight anime, even like anime that might get even this gory, I've never seen that, and that's so gross. Like the sickle going under his chin through his mouth, that's insanity. That's actually crazy. I mean, I don't know if they did it I'm sure they did it in the manga as well, which makes me want to read the manga because that's just no mercy. That's just like, even like I've seen animes where they cut their hands off.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Right.
It's nothing new. You know, that's why that part, I mean, it's pretty obviously gross and stuff, and it's pretty nuts, but it's happened before. So when that type of stuff, it's like, oh my gosh. Even like when this was the hardest part. When after I think episode maybe 10 or so, maybe it was, I'm not sure, but maybe even on episode 10, when everybody was more or less dead, and Tanjiro was having a one-on-one with Gyutaro.
Yeah.
and Gyutaro was just basically just fucking treating him like his plaything, and Tanjiro just couldn't move, you know, and or when he grabbed his fingers and just crunched them, like just backwards. Oh my gosh. Zach, they didn't even like hide it. They just did it. They just animated it. I was like, oh my gosh, why would you do that? Why would you show me this? Like they just not even was like that's so gross. And when I saw that, that was just like, oh my gosh.
You know, I think that was like the perfect example of Gyutaro's strength. Because he just effortlessly just bonk, and then his fingers are fucking backwards. And that was and
I wasn't expecting it either.
Yeah.
Because the way they did it was like, it was very like the music I'm pretty sure cut out, and there was just the flames, you know, it was just ambience. And Gyutaro, up until that point, he was just talking to Tanjiro. He put his sickles into the ground. He was just speaking to him, touching Tanjiro like on his face and stuff, and was holding his hand and stuff. It was, first of all, extremely unnerving. So you're on your feet, right? You're expecting something to happen, and then it's like, and you're like, oh god, he did it. Oh man. In anime, I've never really seen, I mean, unless it was like explicitly a horror anime, usually they would refrain from showing things like that. They might censor it, they might make it black, they might, you know, I don't know, maybe cut to Tanjiro's face or something and then have the sound effect, something along those lines, right? I mean, even in like in Erased, like when way back in the early episodes, when Kao, it's been a long time, her mother was beating her or whatever, it was like on a silhouette,
yeah,
you know, the stuff like that would basically happen. So seeing just going for it, I'm like, oh my, that was rough. But you're right. It did just play this. It added more layers into Gyutaro's character. That's just like, he's just like, there's just absolutely no chance. Tanjiro, you have absolutely no fucking chance. Like, I want you, like you're Kami, you're that type of thing. You have no chance. Absolutely no. He was what, 6? Upper 6? I think. Yes. You don't even, your power of friendship type bullshit is not going to work. You have zero chance. And I want you to know that. Like you know nothing, no matter what you do at all. Unless I strike my own head now, you are going to die. And that's it. It's how it is. It's how the cards play. Instilling that type of fear factor is nuts, because,
and the fact that they did it so convincingly too.
They did.
Like, you were thoroughly convinced that it was done. It was over. It was like, this is how the story ends. You know, like, that was just the most, and like, I don't even know how to put it to words, but it's just like my hands are getting all clammy and stuff. I'm just kind of like reliving it in my head, and it's just like, fucking A. But just the desperation that you could see, and just the helplessness that Tanjiro was feeling in that moment. It was like you could see just all of the hope and, like, you know, his mindset of I have to win. You can see that slowly going away. And he's like, I'm fucked. He doesn't actually say that, but
I'm going to lose.
Yeah, I'm going to lose.
No, I can't win this. There's absolutely no way. How do you? This is a sports ball game, an NBA game, and it's like 100-2.
Right.
With 2 minutes on the clock. No matter how much power friendship you have, Zach, no matter how many 3 points I just randomly lob a half court, I can't win.
Right.
Absolutely no way. That feeling that they did to make you understand that just pure just defeat, loss, like inferiority, right? Of just no matter what you do, you can Hinokami times 10. You can't do it. You're not going to win.
Right.
You know, and that even like during Daki's fight too, like when is how helpless Tanjiro was, even though he stood his ground and stuff and all that. He just until he went like Super Saiyan mode, you know, when he did that thing or whatever, he just couldn't. He got close, but he just couldn't, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And dude, when I think the moment that I realized that just this season was just going to be fucked. And it already kind of was in the first couple episodes, but the second I realized that it was going to be fucked, like fucked, was when Daki was fighting Tanjiro and all the people started like coming out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that moment, and then the head of or whatever, or some guy comes out to scold them for making a bunch of noise or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and Daki gains her powers back because she gets her obi back, which is the belt of a not yukata but a yukata the oh gosh, I think it's called a yukata, this robe thing, and then she just unleashes the power, dismantles a bunch of houses, kills dozens of people, chops the dude's head off, and you saw like that woman crying for her husband who just got absolutely mutilated, like reduced to just like a bloody
pile of mush.
bloody pile of mush. And like that just happened. Like just because she wanted to, just because she could. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, you know,
this is episode like 5.
You know, the difference between the upper and lower ranks,
Mm-hmm.
it's so easy to see.
Mm-hmm.
And that was that moment where you were just like, as a viewer, you
Mm-hmm.
were just like, oh God,
Yeah.
we are playing a different game now. Like all of the other demons, even like, you know, the lower moons, everything like
Mhm.
that, every demon up until that point was fucking child's play compared to these two.
Yeah. Daki wasn't even a lower 6 or a upper 6. Her brother was. You know?
I think she was an upper 6 too.
Was she? No, because Izui was like, no way you're an upper 6. You're too weak, you know, that thing. Because the real upper 6 was her brother, which was inside of her.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So she was, whatever she was, maybe, I don't know, a normal demon or just like a lower 6. Well, I mean, to be fair, Uzui just went choom, 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 right her off her head, you know, so maybe she wasn't even a lower 6, but, or lower 12th, even for that matter. But yeah, dude, she was, that moment, I was like, dude, oh shit. Oh shit. That's the rest of the season is going to be absolutely fucking nuts. And I was right, because I respect them for not hiding anything, for showing the bloodshed, for showing just absolutely how much of a gap there is between the demons and Tanjiro and all these characters.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen all sorts of shows, as I've explained, where it's just like, yeah, you know, the enemy is strong and super powerful, but after a couple flashbacks and the power of friendship, the main character overcomes somehow. He gains a new ability. Tanjiro gained a new ability, and he still got fucked.
He got absolutely like bent over by Gyutaro, like easily, and like at that point, it's just kind of like, what are they gonna do now? Because it's like, you know, you saw Tanjiro try. My brain just. You saw Tanjiro trying to leave, trying to run away.
Yes.
With Nezuko in the box, and then Gyutaro was just like, haha, you trying to run away? No. And he just absolutely rocks Tanjiro's shit just so easily. It seemed like it was fun for him to just absolutely beat the shit out of Tanjiro.
It's like a 7 foot, 250 pounds, a linebacker just kicking a bunch of kindergartners in a recess, you know?
Yeah.
Like it was to that stature.
He was just getting absolutely punted around.
Yes.
And it was like, it was brutal to the extent of like I felt like I shouldn't be watching this right now because it was like there was absolutely no mercy at any point. And you know, the viewers are just kind of sat in the situation like what just absolutely stunned because what is he gonna do? How is he gonna power friendship his way out of this? And then up until the end of episode 10, you think, wow, is this really how this is gonna end?
Yeah.
And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
The end of episode 10.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Perfect.
Dude, the end of episode 10 was like, okay, to put into context, right? So Tanjiro is about to get his shit rocked. Then Uzui comes back after being presumably dead.
Yeah.
On the ground, hand cut off. And does this. This exact frame. With a sword in his mouth like a fucking badass.
Yeah.
What a fucking goat. Fucking legend, bro. Best boy Uzui, bro. And he has a go. He does something, whatever it may be. I don't know. But he just gains this new ability to read his character, maybe, or read the Gyotaro's moves. Whether he's called it a symphony, perhaps it was some sort of. I don't know if he called it a breathing technique or not, but it was just a. He just I don't know, was able to read his moves after a long fight or whatever. Maybe some sort of power friendship, although it didn't really happen. I don't know. But whatever, however way you may see it, the tides turned a little bit. And then there was this moment, and there was that scene of just Tanjiro's oh gosh, I used it for the thumbnail for the other episode, with like Tanjiro's face of just like the white eyes and Inosuke's face and Zenitsu's face. It's like, whoa. Like this is, whoa. Like this is, oh my God, they're going to do it. And then they did it. They cut off his head. I know I'm just breezing over things, but you know, they did it. They had a moment, and they had that moment of relapse, a moment of like, oh. That like,
we fucking did it.
Oh. Oh my. And you're like, oh. It's like a speechless moment. It's like I watched it. I'm just sitting here watching it, and I'm like, dude. That's it. That's all I have to say, right? But then, you know, what happens is, you know, Tanjiro drops to the ground, poison starting to get to him, I would assume. And, you know, there's probably a hole in his fucking mouth. And that doesn't help. And Uzui is like, you know, Tanjiro, it's not over. Don't sit down, you know. And Tanjiro can't hear him because the poison is getting to him. Again, a great performance by the Seiyu of portraying that embodiment of being poisoned, that his breathing and the sound cutting off and just hearing just this haziness. That was really good. And then for whatever reason, Gyutaro just fucking explodes. And by explodes, I mean atomic bomb explodes. And everything is reduced to ash. Everything. All around him within like a fucking 100-mile radius. And then the flame, the char, like you even see these split seconds of Tanjiro being blasted away and Uzui being blasted away. And then it just, and then the credits roll. And you're like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. What? I was just relieved. I thought it was over. And now, and the blast was so significant that it was just like, surely they're dead.
Right.
Like the entire area was reduced to ashes. They have to be reduced to ashes too. You know, like surely. So I'm like, oh my God. And then it's just like, just this slow, I think it was like a piano or something, maybe like a cello or something. And it's just this slow falling of the chars of the explosion and fire amongst this dark background. And the credits are just playing. No ED song or anything. It's just playing. And you're like, oh, for an uncomfortably long time. You're like, oh my. It's like, you know, I explained it before. It was just like a, the Infinity War ending of like you leave the theaters and you go into your car and you just go like,
what?
Like, like just this dead silence of like, I can't say anything. I felt so many emotions within just this 23 minutes that I can't even muster the words to explain how I felt at this moment. It's just, dude, no, I need to just sit and process what the fuck happened. I need to. No, I need to. Whoa, how? They can't end the episode like that.
You can't explain in a way that makes sense the way that made you feel. Like, I can't feasibly explain what was going through my head as those credits were rolling. I was sitting in my chair like, I immediately texted you and I was like, bro, you were right.
I know I was right. Because I'm always right. Every single time. Everybody doesn't believe me. No, Arthur, Anuki, anime isn't good. There's no way you can get me into anime. No, manga isn't good. There's no way you can get me to read manga. I prefer anime. No, my edit is great. What are you talking about? There's no way I can improve from here. No, I don't care that I have these life choices. I'm sure I'll be fine. I can buy these things. I can do these things. I can sort my life the way I am doing so at the moment. What do you mean?
When I say that my jaw hit the floor, I'm barely exaggerating. Because it was just so quiet.
Yeah.
When the credits rolled, it was like all you could hear was fire and then just soft little thing going. And it was just the most heartbreaking thing.
You know when you have that exhale and it's not like it's like a like that shaky exhale?
Yeah.
That's how I describe the feeling of the episode. When you're just like you know.
Yeah.
That's how I describe it. It's just like, oh, fuck. That it's not like an exhale of relief. It's a nervous exhale. It's a speechless exhale. It's like I can't say anything right now, and the reason why is because even my own breath is broken right now.
Yeah.
Is cut. Is shaky. Even my own, the single thing that I can do second nature other than walking is in shambles right now.
Right. So can we briefly talk about Nezuko just absolutely fucking going hard?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's turn the table a little bit to something even more fucking fun. Yeah, her just like being goated. I was waiting for her to make her own appearance. So yeah, I'm glad. I didn't know. I guess technically I've seen spoilers, but I've seen pictures of the manga of her adorned in that form.
Yeah,
with the vines and the oh, you were hurting my little brother. Is it you who are bullying my brother?
I'm built different.
Don't talk to me or my son ever again. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen pictures like that in the manga. So I didn't know what that meant necessarily, but I've seen art like that in the manga. I'm like, oh, interesting. So I didn't really know anything more than that. So I guess you can consider that spoiled for me, but I didn't really know what that meant. And then promptly after, I realized what that meant. It meant that she was a fucking badass. And there was absolutely nothing that Daki can do.
Daki got her shit rocked so fast. Like, I'm glad that we got that moment of just Nezuko just going in.
Yes.
Just going in.
You know, I like to imagine Demon Slayer being orchestrated in a way that you're watching it in a theater with other people.
Yeah.
That's how I imagine the Demon Slayer experience is. You know, you like something happens like that, and everybody in the crowd goes, "Oh!" You know, that's what I imagine.
Yeah.
You know, oh my god, that's what I imagine the Demon Slayer experience is, like an actual audible audience.
Yeah.
So I just imagine in my head watching this episode, watching that go down, and just imagining how a theater would just erupt.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that. And the same as well as with the episode 10 fight as well, or, you know, and the entire fight leading up to it. I just imagine that experience. And yeah, I'm just like, oh my goodness. Yeah, Nezuko is like gaining just this, I think they called it something. I don't know what they called it. Like a princess of some sort. And then she even though she severed her head, she was still connected by her blood. That was badass as shit, you know, and her just, I don't know, dude, just being like a like a yes queen, please step on me type of girl.
And the fact that she only kicked Daki.
Oh, I find that really interesting how she just kicks. That was kind of developed like even in the beginning. Like she kind of clawed slash a lot, but even like during a lot of her fighting in season 1, she kicked. And I respect that as someone who watches, you know, Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan and stuff, you know, kicking is a very powerful component. You wouldn't expect that. You expect more of like a, you know, you were more accompanied. We're more familiar with mano a mano, fist to fist, you know,
the you know, fisticuffs type thing. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
We're more accustomed to that. So there's this different, you know, when I don't know how much you watch MMA, Zach. When you see that flying roundhouse kick that knocks a motherfucker out,
that shit like hurts my soul.
Yeah,
because I just
more than a knockout punch, more than like anything like that. You see that shit, yeah.
You see that man's soul leaving his body, straight up.
Like damn, like a kick is, I don't know how. But I know how. It's because of that familiarity.
Right.
It's because of that sense of like unexpectedness.
Right.
That sense of like, oh my God, it's out of nowhere. It's like no matter what, we expect the fist. We see it everywhere. We see it in the ring. We see it in real life. We see it in World Star, in TikTok fights and Twitter video fights of shitty iPhone camera quality fights and stuff. And we're like, oh my God, you know, he's rocking his shit right now. Ain't nobody ever get rocked like getting kicked in the goddamn neck from foot to the ground. From ground 360 momentum, like a damn spiral, like a bam whiplash type shit.
Yeah.
No, you don't know that. You see that and you're like, oh my God, oh my Lord.
Yeah, you're just like so taken aback by it, where you almost just like don't know how to respond. And so when you watch Nezuko just like absolutely kick this girl into another dimension, you're like, oh fuck, okay, all right, yeah, no. And then she was just repeatedly stomping on Daki's head, just absolutely curb stomping the shit out of her. And it was just one of those moments where it's like watching a plane crash. Like you can't stop watching, but you like everything in your body is telling you to turn away because it's just so fucked. And you're just sitting there, and every time you're just like, ooh, oh.
And every single time you're like, oh, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Like, oh my gosh, dude. It's insane. And yeah, I mean, the fights were so beautifully done. And I love the progression of the brutality of the fights. And, you know, that's coming from someone who watches horror movies all the time. But it's getting more and more raw. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, you're just watching, like, you know, as much as there is like the fanfare and like the, oh, for my family, you know, that kind of stuff. It's becoming more and more of just like
raunchy,
no
mercy.
Yeah. Just Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm just gonna animate this person being sliced in half. Like, and I'm not gonna hide. You're going to see it. You're gonna watch this person's hand come off. You're gonna watch this person get basically just erupt under their own skin.
You're gonna watch this person get a sickle through his mouth from his chin. Like that was that even surprised me. Like just watching, and like the fact that when Tanjiro got stabbed, he didn't even stop. Like that was just how fucking all in he was. He was just, oh man. And yeah, that's just the level of brutality and darkness in season 2. I don't know if it could, I mean, it could be topped in another season, but I don't think that it's going to get to like that point. Maybe. I mean, it's hard to say because I don't.
It is hard to say. Well, season 3 got announced, right? So I don't know much about it. Part of it, I do want to read the manga so I can figure out. But with the key visuals, I see quiet dude Hashira with a longer hair boy, and my queen Mitsuri with the pink hair, my queen. So I'm super pumped. So I don't know very much about it, but I really think, I mean, with the funds that they got from the movie, I mean, dare I say, they only use a fraction of it for season 10 or for season 2.
All of it was in the fight scene.
All of it was in the fight scene, you know? And like for the longest time, Mugen Train was like the top grossing movie in Japan and frankly all over the world for that matter. One of the, or rather maybe not all over the world, maybe one of the top grossing movies. You know, like it made a pennies. It made a couple dollars, Zach. It made a couple dollary dues, Zach, went into the pockets of Ufotable after that movie, Zach.
Just a couple.
Just a couple, a few. Another day.
Billion.
So when I say they can afford a couple animators, Zach, I think they can afford a couple animators, Zach. They can afford a couple sound directors, sound designers, Zach. They can afford a couple script writers, Zach. They can afford a couple seiyuu, Zach.
Honestly, I think, and you know, if you want to go into speculation time about what season 3 might look like, I feel like this is gonna be the point when Tanjiro gets close to being an actual Hashira.
Well, at the end of season 2, Uzui quits and then mentions that Tanjiro is on his way to becoming one. You know, so I think so. I agree. Maybe like super grueling Hashira training is to come. So yeah, get fucked, Demon Slayer fans. More training episodes. Ha ha! Get fucked.
I mean, dude, the little mini training arc at the end of season 1, like that was just so wholesome.
It was.
And like it was cool because you got to see a side of the characters that you never got to see otherwise. And you know, I think that was something that we needed just to have that character development and everything like that. But yeah, if that's what ends up happening. Oh, and the fucking the sun breathing. That was so cool. Like I immediately started looking at a bunch of stuff about Demon Slayer and about like all of the different breathing styles and everything like that. And like supposedly sun breathing was the first that all of the other styles were based off of. And Muzan apparently fought a guy who had the same earrings as Tanjiro. And so like that instilled like a fear into his soul so powerful that every single demon that has Muzan's blood fears someone who can do sun breathing.
Yeah, because Indaki had that experience when Tanjiro went Super Saiyan mode.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'm calling it that because I don't know what else to call it. But he kind of went a little bit. I don't know. I'd say a little bit more darker than Super Saiyan. You know, more like a just cutting off his limits and just going ape shit.
Yeah.
You know, no more reason. Reason has escaped. You know.
Yeah.
Like he just goes into this mode, and Daki as Tanjiro approached Daki had a random surge of memory of Muzan being, you know, pinned to a corner by presumably his father, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think it's ever been explicitly said, but it's a pretty general consensus that is most likely his father, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who donned the sunrise earrings and in the original sun breathing type of technique, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that is very cool. I agree. That is very cool. I you know, that type of I've explained before, Zach, with like magic anime, you know, when it makes sense, it's very fascinating. Yeah,
the fucking tieback. I love it. I love it because it's so fucking true.
Yes,
and like
it's great.
That literally you saying that one sentence just made it just lit a fire under my ass, and I just want to talk about it because it's so good.
It's like when like in Avatar, when they have the air bending and the water bending and stuff, but they have basically their own rule set, and as if it were to be real life, you can understand how it works. You can understand why water bending works. You can understand like when Uncle Iroh was teaching Zuko about lightning bending, he derived it from water bending and the way you have the lightning flow through their body in a fluid motion. Like it's and when Zuko was figuring out the new firebending type of technique with Aang, you know, and then learning about all these type of things, it was just like, it makes sense. It really does. It feels like if magic or whatever that may be were to exist in the real world, how would that work? Would it just be shoot fire, brr, you know, like
right?
No, it would not. It would have to do a lot of training, a lot of diligence, a lot of understanding, and you know, we make fun of like a anime or like fantasy type terms like energy and chakra and stuff like that, right? Although, you know, that type of thing is that it exists in a way of more so, like, I'm not going to go into the crazy details because I know a lot of things that along with like Tai Chi and stuff like that, and which does exist, of course. They use that idea of chakra and all that, the fluid of energy motion in their body. They use that idea, whether it's real or not, I don't know. It's not something that can be proven. It's more of interpretation. I was having a conversation with my aunt yesterday, literally last night about this. So that's why I'm hot off the stove, Zach, about this, because she is a little how do I explain this, Zach, in the nice way? A little off, like a little too into the spiritual type of things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, and a little bit like I'm Buddhist and I get spiritual type of things, you know, I get spiritual practices and all that type of stuff. But you know, the internet is a dangerous tool, Zach, and you know, you can find yourself reading a lot of things that probably doesn't need to be, that probably isn't right, and probably isn't, you know, a little bit too off the rocks, you know. And when that happens to someone, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, they're a little oof. But you know, I understand like this, even though there's an interpretation of chakra, right? Of just a flowing energy that derives around your body that is controlled in ways that we don't know. And the way to feel that is through things like Tai Chi, you know, like the movement of the body in certain ways that gets that to flow around your body. And it's all, as a realist, I don't want to call myself a realist because I do atone to spiritual sides too. So I'm more of like an in-between. But as someone, like if I were to sit in the chair of a realist, that doesn't really make any sense in a way, but it's interpretation, right? It's not factual. That's a problem, right? The reason why you can't prove these things is because you cannot you cannot pinpoint the reason. It's mindset, it's interpretation, and you can't write a paper based on interpretation. That's not a structured research paper. So that's why that a realist might say that's odd. But it does kind of like even if whether it exists or not is some other controversial take. It's whatever. That's a different argument, but that's not the argument I'm here to make. What I'm here to make is the interpretation of chakra, the interpretation and the idea of flowing energy within your body, and why that could make sense, whether it exists or not. If it exists or not, magic exists or not, it makes sense of how that would exist, and that's what's fascinating, right? So explaining how airbending and waterbending works, explaining how these different types of breathing techniques derived from the sun breathing and where those lie. I haven't done my own research yet because I'm afraid to I'm afraid to strike my pickaxe on a rock that I don't want to strike. If that makes sense. That's a weird analogy. But that idea of just things make sense. Fiction makes sense. Why can Harry Potter fly on a broom, and why does that make sense, Zach? Well, here's a big fucking book about why. About the school. About the different schools. Is that how Harry Potter? There's schools, right? Or is it factions? I don't know. I don't really know Harry Potter very much. But you know what I mean?
Houses.
They were houses.
Houses. Yeah.
Houses. You're right. How the spells were.
When it makes sense.
Yeah, when it makes sense.
It like if they are able to convince you, like, this makes sense in the context of this world, like the way that sun breathing and ended up splitting off into so many different things. It's like it makes sense, know? And the fact, ow, I have a bruise on my palm. The fact that you see Tanjiro doing that, like using different styles of breathing, like some fire breathing, some water breathing, he's able to do so much cool shit. And it's just so awesome to see that happening before you even like know what sun breathing is, before you even know like that it's possible to do multiple different breathing styles. Tanjiro does it. And then it's just like, oh, fuck, that's cool. And then you learn kind of how things work. And, it just it just evolves. And
Zach, that's why these politic episodes, these filler episodes, not even filler episodes, I don't call them filler episodes. Tanjiro. Demon Slayer hasn't necessarily done it yet. Exactly. Where it's just like, all right, fellas, let's sit down and talk about shit. Let's break down what's happening in the world. Let's talk about why this motherfucker can shoot fire right now, even though he's a human. Let's just talk. I'm ready. I'm waiting for those collection of episodes. I'm so ready. And I know what the general opinion is going to be. Damn, this shit's boring. And to that, I'm not going to go back into it because we explained it already. We did. We had a whole episode about it. But I just can't wait because I find it so fascinating. It's just like, yes, answer my questions. Why does this stuff make sense in this world? Why can this happen? And even in a world where, as we've kind of seen, like a lot of the civilization doesn't even know the existence of demons or the existence of demon slayers or the existence of these type of breathing techniques and these being able to adorn these special abilities. They don't know that. They just live their life. Like even in not the movie, but the first or so episodes of the train arc of that girl who was just saying to her grandma, just like, demons don't exist, and the demon slayers aren't real things and that type of stuff. Like there's just people that just don't believe in it because, well, I mean, they never experienced it, or it just doesn't make, it's not a real life thing.
Right.
That's us, Zach. It's not a real thing. What if it is a real thing? Who the fuck knows? God, hope is not. I sure goddamn hope is not a real thing. But who the fuck knows? There's all sorts of different mysteries right now, different tall tales, different folk tales, whether they be real or not. Who the fuck knows? It's not proven otherwise. Goes back to the thing about interpretation. Magic can just exist. Maybe we just haven't acquired that part of our brain yet. I could just be walking down the street and then, I don't know, someone is like, Just going at it. You're like, what the?
I thought you were gonna pull the. I'm just walking down the street, and then someone just randomly. I am so excited for that to be taken out of context and just put anywhere. Please do that. That would be fucking hilarious. But yeah, it's just like, what if you're just walking down the street and someone just fucking alaka-blammed and it's just a chaos. Like, what if that's what's in Area 51?
What if
Area 51 is a training facility for people who are fighting the things that we aren't allowed to see? I'm totally tinfoil hatting right now. But,
I know. But it's like, I know.
But the possibility of something like that happening,
no, I agree with you, Zach.
It's funny because it sounds so stupid, but at the same time, it sounds just stupid enough to where it sounds like it could happen.
Because there's no evidence of saying it can't happen. Like, there's no science can say that, no matter how I restructure my atoms, I can't shoot fire out of my palms. Like, that's just not how things work. But that doesn't mean it can just randomly happen for an unknown scientific reason. Just because why the fuck not? There's an outlier. It's the why the fuck not, Zach. Like, it can just happen. Anything can happen, Zach. Anything.
Do you want to hear a really weird random fact?
Sure.
Do you know that there is a 1 in, I think it was either 10 million or 10 billion chance that if you go to smack the table with your hand, all of the atoms in your hand and in the table will miss each other and your hand will go straight through the table.
What?
I'm being dead serious. Like, that's actually a thing.
Because it's happened?
Not to me, but to somebody.
Yeah, like one time I was just like, I was playing COD and I got mad and went like this and my hand went through the table. I was like, what the? I'm gifted.
I'm a demon slayer.
Has that been recorded?
I'm pretty sure. And
see see, when you break it down, right? Like the atoms and molecules and stuff, when you break that down, when like we're technically just in very tiny, not even to the naked eye, not even to like under microscopic eyes. We're just little tiny bits of just molecules. Just
stuff.
We're just things. We're little tiny circles and lines connected with, circles connected by lines.
We're just guys being dudes.
We're just dudes, dude. We're a bunch of shapes, Zach. We're polygons. Technically.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, Dad. Well, polygons would be, we're shapes. We're just a bunch of random shapes mixed together. So what is the very, 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 very slim chance that I go like this and there's just this, the structure of my molecules just so happen to miss the structures of this table. And I go, whoop. I get it. But at the same time, yeah, I can see how that goes into quantum physics, right? Where I was talking about quantum physics too with my aunt because it goes quantum physics is like this really weird, explainable but unexplainable, but kind of explainable, but kind of not explainable idea, Bunny Girl Senpai, Zach. These ideas that are just
quantum entanglement.
Quantum entanglement. Schrodinger's cat. It's like
Schrodinger's dong.
Schrodinger's dong. Schrodinger's dong. Like, it's just like, yeah, that makes sense, but not really, but it kind of does, but not really, but it does, because I can see where you're coming from, but it's not really a thing, but it's an,
It makes just enough sense to where you want to think about it, It's like, it's one of those, it's very mentally stimulating, because you sit there and think, okay, well, if it's possible for me to just, and then my hand just goes, whoop, whoop,
right
through the table. If that's possible, what else is possible that we don't know about? Like, what about... There are a lot of things that have not been proven to be impossible. But also, they haven't been proven to be possible either. So there's so many different things that are just kind of unknowns. You don't know if it's possible to be able to use your body in a way that no one has ever thought of.
Zach, that's the whole premise of Schrodinger's dog. Schrodinger's cat. Like it's
Schrodinger's dong.
Dong Schroeder's ding. You know? I like with you it's not possible, but it's not possible. So what is it?
It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's an idea. It's interpretation.
You just got so serious for a moment.
Because I am serious.
Yeah.
I agree that, see, I'm not a tinfoil hatter. I'm not like science is a lie. I'm not like, you know, I'm not like that. Like, oh, they're just telling us what they want us to. There's enough evidence and there's enough explanation where science, you know, makes sense. If I take my hand and I grab this cup and I pour this liquid into my body, if I take this cup and I tip it, liquid will probably flow downwards.
Yes.
And it would, and because it's a fucking piece of shit and physics sucks, it'll actually hug the cup and go like this and drip off the cup like that.
Yeah.
Because there's no momentum to carry it, so it's just grabbing onto the closest surface. So it'll just dribble like this, even though I'm trying to pour the water into my little Kroger thing, and then I'm trying to pour water into the thing, but it hugs the measuring cup, and then it goes off to the side. I'm like, well, what the fuck is happening? Now I've just made a mess. Like, well, I'm just trying to pour water into this hole so I can make my cup of coffee, and now I have to grab the Bounty and wipe my damn mess. We don't have Bounty, Zach. We got the Kirkland brand premium towels because everybody buys up the Downy. Anyways, that's besides the point.
Fucking man.
I agree with science and mathematics. Like it's like that. Nothing gets more concrete than science and mathematics. They operate on facts. But not everything can be. Isn't there like a thing where it's like there's like 7 unexplainable questions or something like that right now? There's a thing like that. And it's funny because I know this from the Bokuben manga because one of the genius's mom was one of the women who were on track to answer those. It's like, I don't know if it's 7, but it's like there's like these unexplained 7 of science's greatest unanswered questions. Where it's just like, why is there stuff? Why is time undirectional? Why are we alone in the universe? What's so weird about Prime? What's so weird about Prime? Well, you can get your deliveries really quick. That thing is pretty cool. Can computers keep getting, I would assume, faster? What is consciousness? Can we find an ununified theory of physics? Join the Discord. Sick, yes. Like, I don't know if that's the actual questions, but I know that's, maybe it is that, but it's just these questions of 7 unanswered questions in Genshin Impact 2. What the hell? Yes, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thank you for that. I needed to have my Genshin cameo in here somewhere, Zach. Thank you for that.
Oh shit, the bingo. Use case.
Which, by the way, the new stories in Genshin are very fucking awesome. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Again, it's just fantasies and just like if when things make sense is fucking awesome. Anyways, we're not going to talk about Genshin.
That's been
here.
what we've been talking about the entire time.
Like if they can't, like, we're working on them, and how close how close are we to them? I don't know, but it's just like, what if, there just is no explanation that we can use with science and math, and I personally am under the agreement that, or I'm under the belief that at a certain point anything can be explained, whether that be in a couple days, months, decades, centuries, at a certain point, because we've gotten there. All these unexplained things in the past from thousands, millions of years ago are being explained, are explained now, or are being uncovered now. I agree on the notion that anything can be explained. It's just in a matter of time. There is no concrete amount of time. There's no estimate. It's just
dinosaurs.
It'll just happen at some point, right? So, but what if one of these unanswered questions won't be answered until we somehow adorn something we've never seen before? Magic.
Magic. Genshin Impact. I think we're going to get to the point to where we are going to be limited by the amount of information that we have. And the information that we have currently is kind of shaping our point of view on the world around us, on the universe, the multiverse theory, all of that kind of stuff, and so I think it might get to a certain point where you're just going to kind of have to step outside of what we know and look at it from a different point of view. And that's something,
that's hard to conceptualize, like how do you create like a documented research paper based off of that idea,
Well, the first problem is the first part of that documented.
Yeah, exactly. That it can't be documented. That's just an idea, an interpretation.
Right.
How does that doesn't make any sense? Well, it does make sense, but I can't prove that it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you have the answer, but you don't have the work to show.
See, no, it's like you have the answer, but you just don't have the question.
Right.
Like
it's like Jeopardy. What is anime?
What is Bunny Girl Senpai?
I told my brother to rewatch Bunny Girl Senpai because he's really into that stuff right now, like quantum physics and stuff. And I'm like, oh, you should rewatch it because I think you find it fascinating. Because
bro, it's so good.
It is good. And I explained to Lara, it's like how much like actual quantum physics is true into that is whatever it is, and how simple it is whatever it is. But what it does really well is like how accurate it is what it is. It was whatever, right? I don't know how accurate the author. I don't know if the author of the light novels is like a
fucking
quantum physics. Like, is there an occupation for that? Quantum physicist. I don't know if that's what the author is, but
for some reason I thought quantum physician.
Quantum physician. Quantum pediatrician. I don't know how accurate that or how knowledgeable the author is, but what the author did really well is take ideas that all of us know or have learned about, maybe whether we know very much about it or not, but we learned it in school, and like Schrodinger's. I can't say it with a straight face anymore. Schrodinger's cat, right? That idea is just like, we know what it is, and I know what it means, but I don't really know what it means until, Bunny Girl Senpai came along, and other examples, of course, as well. But in a different type of media where you can kind of, in an anime, see what that type of example would be. What a physical animated representation of existence means, of acknowledging existence. It's simple. It really is, but it's like it's hard to grasp something without that nail in that hammer to the nail. There you go. That's blackout right there for the bingo card. That that visual aid, right? That just like I can explain to you what Schrodinger's cat is, but you don't like without tackling it without tackling the idea in every single angle. You can't really get an idea because I know I get if I take my phone and I throw it, it'll fall to the ground because physics and gravity, right?
Mm-hmm.
But why? I don't know that as an average human being. Not unless I watch a cool YouTube video that explains it with cool 2D graphics and motions and stuff.
And, smarter every day.
Yeah, And then I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That's basically what Bunny Girl Senpai was, in a sense. But it was great.
But it was good.
But those are good, but they don't have my sense. So, it's like, how good is it? How good are those videos without my, you know what I mean? Like, come on.
They were pretty all right.
They were pretty all right, but there was no my.
The idea of trying to understand why things happen instead of how things happen is a question that is really, really, really hard to answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that just like melted my brain.
No, you're right though. That's it. It's supposed to melt. It's supposed to rock your brain. It's supposed to leave you like, what? It's an unanswered question, Zach. in Genshin Impact 2.0.
Yes.
You know, it's why? Why? What?
Who?
No, not gonna finish that. It's just like we just can't explain it.
Right.
With all like how advanced technology is getting more advanced every day, answering more questions. But there's just some that's just like we can't get there with facts. So how do we get there? I mean, in animes with magic and stuff, there's even if there is magic, there's magic researching. So if we have somehow absorbed magic, we'd all have to start in square one of researching what that means. So we're a long way to go, Zach.
Where do you start, though? That's the question.
Well, first I got to start. Well, someone has to be able to shoot fire out of their hands. Maybe they have to put David Blaine in a facility and just figure out what the fuck is this person.
Yeah.
This is not a. He is an anomaly.
In the beginning.
Okay, before we finish, I don't know how long we've been going, but before we finish, I want to talk about just a little bit about animation in Demon Slayer, because I teased it a little bit. And it's not as grandiose as I've hyped it, but I do want to talk about what Ufotable did that I have not seen before. So Ufotable, always famous for their fights and their animation as well, and their super powerful shonen just type of flow, which is awesome. Sword Online, Fate, these really fun, immersive camera working 3D work. There's a lot of 3D, a lot of CG. Like, I don't know if you remember, like watching the Demon Slayer or watching the Mugen Train, the credits, and when it went to like the CG and VX artists, it was just this massive block of names, and you're like, oh my.
Yeah.
like Spider-Man No Way Home type shit, where it was just like, oh, CG, music directors and all that, editors, CG artists, no, it was like that. You're like, oh my, there's a lot of them.
Right.
Because as an editor, Zach, as a Call of Duty editor as myself, I've came to the point where basically anybody can edit video games if they want to. Even without a lot of extensive knowledge, I've seen it. I've seen a lot of people nowadays just start editing for the first time, and they're really good. Way better than if I saw someone start like 3 or 4 years ago. Even without the knowledge of editing knowledge, how to use editing softwares, what it means, it's like, or even the basics for that matter. And that's where I come in, right? I teach the basics and stuff like that, right? But even without that type of knowledge, you can make something presentable. So it's like, okay, if basically Call of Duty editing, Fortnite editing, Apex editing, all of that is just copy and paste at this point, where can you go from there? Well, that's where technology comes in. That's where AI comes in. Right. That's where CG comes in. That's where, like, I can create a zoom in and out effect by myself with a couple keyframes, and there's a straightforward scale up, right? How do you make that more fun? Well, you Bezier it. I don't know if you know what that means, but it's you have a linear, like from point A, right, to point B, or a keyframe, right? Scale up keyframe, right? And it's just a straight line. Or what if you make it speed up, slow down, speed up?
Yeah.
Beziering would be like slow down, speed up, slow down, but that's just kind of playing with that line. But that's still manual work, technically, because I can technically do that by myself. So where do you keep going? How do you enhance yourself? It's AI, Zach. So there's this term called frame interpolation, or warping, or frame blending for my editor bros. And it's where you see in Demon Slayer specifically, and it's the first time not the first time necessarily I might have ever seen it, but the first time I've seen it to this extent, done so well and so clean. And you see it in the Demon Slayer opening, you see it in the fight scenes, you see it in Mugen Train. I don't even know if you might have even seen it in season 1. I'm not sure, maybe a little bit, but they damn near enhance it very well. And it's the way I can take one frame and another frame in a 24 frames per second timeline with character movements and animations usually 12 frames per second. So there's a missing frame in between. So you can draw that, painstakingly draw an in between there if you really want to have that smooth coherentness, or you have a computer auto-generate that for you. And that's the difference in animation that you see that created this difference in, like, something was different. Something is different about this. What is different about this fight scene? I don't know what it is. Why does it look so good? Why does it look so cool? Why does it look so different from the other shounen that I've watched? Because if you were to have, for example, I wish I could show examples, but we would get fucked if we uploaded, right? I wish I could. But like examples of in the opening, I can show the opening, right? Right?
Yeah.
I think just like a very little bit. If we can't, then you won't see it. It'll be gone. But I'm pretty sure I can show you it. Maybe this is muted, right? The desktop audio?
Yeah.
Give me just 1 second, guys. Sorry, this is gonna be really awkward, but give me a second. But this idea, if you don't, because unless you're in the editing space, you don't really understand this term of warping or frame interpolation. So let me explain. Demon Slayer season 2 opening 1. Can I? Oh shit! Sorry. Oh my. I'm so sorry. 131 words per minute, by the way. I'm sure you can tell. So let me just find. Oh, it's in the ending. I'm sorry. It might have been here too, but I have to show you this because there's no way I can explain it otherwise. Yes. Okay, this is it right here. So allow me to explain everybody what frame interpolation means. So there's a lot of things where, as I explained, in anime, and this is not a bad thing because this has been traditional anime forever, where you have, if you want to show a still frame or maybe someone moving a little, like in the air, for example, right? They wouldn't really animate them in the air completely, like they do a jump or something, or they jump from a blast or something. They wouldn't necessarily show all of every single 24 frame animated, right? They would show maybe even just one frame of them in the air and they keyframe it-ish, kind of, in a way where it looks realistic. And that's fine, that's normal. But what Demon Slayer does way too well is they do frame interpretation. So they do this thing where they use AI, and here we go. You can see this super fluid movement of just, see the way he pulls his sword and how it's just see like this, right? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's way too fluid. It's not 12 per second, it's 24 frames per second. And what that means is that they didn't, I mean, they could have, I don't know, maybe they did, but they didn't, if they animated every single damn frame, I really hope the animators are being paid extra, like double, triple. I swear to God. If not, then that's a bad thing because that's a lot of that's double the work.
Right.
And it's not like an in-between frame where you have usually what you would have is the amateur or the newbie work on the in-between frames while the veteran animators work on the key frames, is the one that matter, right? Every single frame is good. Mm-hmm. Everyone. So it's not that. So to my eyes, because I know what it looks like. I know what frame interpolation looks like. And I'm sure they might have, they did it and then it's not perfect because it's AI generated. So they might have adjusted a little bit. But the bulk of the work is done. Even here. This is, look at the way the camera.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
Thank you for that.
I'm sorry.
The way they move, not just the camera, but how not only does the frame move, it's not linear, it's also 3D. Like, it's like the camera's moving from one side of his face to the other. Right. It doesn't create a 3D, it is 3D. Right. It's two different sides of his face. So that also helps with this kind of, on a compressed two-dimensional format, you have this 3D inherency into it. So that's this idea of using more than just drawing is what's going to make you create something that stands out a little bit, because they can have animators and they can copy and paste and keyframe and do all these things, but how do you make it look different? How do you do something that, dare I say, exceeds human limitations.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You let the computer take over. You let the computer do the work. So that is the number one key difference in the animation in this show versus any other really high produced shonen show that you ever see. And I respect them for that because I've always said it in the past. Like if I were to make a Call of Duty edit and it's just a copy and paste, shoot, bolt back, shoot type of shit, right? And it's pleasing to watch, and it is. But how do I speed up the process? How do I make it different? How do I give it a different look that I can't do myself? Well, I let the computer do the work. I'll enhance it and refine it, but I'll let the computer do something that I can't do with my own hands.
Right. Which is insane to think about, really, because it's like you're going beyond human potential and human limitations to
going
turn
Super
it into,
Saiyan.
Going Super
If you
Saiyan.
might. If you might, one might say.
And you take that and then you turn it into this really crazy thing where you can animate within a 3D space and like have camera pans and all of these really, really cool like cinematographer type stuff animated. And not only that, you don't have to sit there and draw all 24 frames for it to look good. You just kind of have to tweak it and mess with it a little bit to make it so that those filler frames look good. And it's just it's just mind-boggling to me. And like I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yes.
Until you just said that.
Yes. See, I told you, I know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's done so very well that maybe they did, but maybe they did just sit there and draw every frame. I hope they didn't. I hope. Like I would actually have preferred that a computer did it because one, it'd be more efficient.
Right.
And two, it would probably save a lot of headaches. Three, I don't think their animators, no matter how much damn money Mugen Train made, their animators need to be paid quadruple to be able to be worth doing that. And I do it myself, frame interpolation. It's all the time in Call of Duty. I know what it looks like. That's what it looks like. And it's not a bad thing because it's done so well that you couldn't tell.
It becomes a tool.
As I've explained before, the job of an editor, of a VFX artist, of anything like that, who works on a project that is a conglomerate, or that is a team effort of multiple things that isn't just an editing show reel, to an audience that doesn't know the better, that doesn't know what's happening behind the scenes. The editor's job is to make it feel like nothing happened, is to make it feel like it's real, to make it feel like they animated every single frame, to make it feel like there is a camera panning from this side of Rengoku's face to the other side of Rengoku's face.
Right.
Even if you can't figure out what that is, you don't have to. You don't even think about it.
Yeah.
That's how smooth it was. That's the job. And as an editor, I respect that. I mean, you respect it now, and I'm sure you respect it like subconsciously. But as me, I'm going to point it out because I noticed that, and I'm like, that's impressive. Kudos to them. They should be paid quadruple.
That's just crazy to think that tech has made it like advancements in tech have also advanced so many different things at the same time. And even just the process of doing these types of things and making it so that, you don't have to have the poor intern draw the in-between frames, like in between the keyframes. It's like, that's insane. And the fact that, that can end up changing the workflow of a project so much, like that's just absolutely crazy. And it definitely makes me appreciate this type of thing a lot more because it's like so much more goes into it than just regular old standard animation. Like
this, when people say like, we talked about it before, so I'm not gonna go too far, but like how hand-drawn animation is the best, and all that type of stuff. And to an extent, I do agree because I think like really well done hand-drawn animation for like a fight scene, it has its own charm to it. It's really cool, and I'm never going to discredit that because one, it's a lot of work, and two, it still looks really good and it can hold up to today. But if you copy and paste that every single time, then you have the same thing, the same show, the same shonen fight, the same thing every single time. So if I am an editor and I am so damn popular that I have to pump out Call of Duty edits every week.
Right.
For different clients, for different organizations. How do I speed up my process? How can I be more efficient? How can I make it so that without compromising too much quality or even at all quality, how can I make my deadlines?
Right.
I mean, that's why hand-drawn manga artists, go to digital. That's why just the enhancement of digital age is important.
Right.
Because it is important to know the basics, as I've explained. It's very important to understand where you're coming from. It's important to understand. Have you seen Linus Tech Tips video on the first ever computer?
Mm-mm.
It's very fascinating. And it actually ends up being a calculator. I'm going to pull it up real quick because it's fascinating. We're not going to watch it, of course, but I'm so glad I get to talk about this because I've been trying to find a way for the past couple episodes to bring this up. I'm happy now. So I think this might be my favorite Linus Tech Tip video of all time. This one, I'm the computer now, but it's actually a calculator because technically computers are calculators. And it's this big, clunky, operational, mechanical, like moving parts.
That is so cool.
And it's very like we're watching. Sorry, audio listeners, but this idea of just imagine. Because like before that,
right,
was just pen and paper. Was the what the fuck is it called? On the rows on the line with the balls and you just.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
The first manual calculator type thing before that, and then this comes out. Imagine what it would be like when this comes out. You're an accountant, Zach. You're a secretary. For years, you've just been writing on pencil and paper, and now you have this.
That'd be fucking insane.
Right?
Yeah, because that's such a huge leap. And like you're able to just do so much more with it.
It's because of this type of advancement. Am I on the right one? I think I am on me.
Yeah.
It's like you enter. This is an ad now playing. You enter this idea of like computing and this idea of like how to fasten workflow. And one may complain like, oh, well, nothing will ever beat just hand crunching numerics, which it can be the case because, I mean, have you ever, I don't know how much you work with money or anything. I do a lot since I work in, what's it, I guess not retail,
Customer service,
right?
Yeah. And
I handle money because I handle a cash register and we have to count the till,
Mm-hmm.
And we have a dollar counter, but I prefer just counting it with my hand.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, I mean, the off chance that maybe the first dollar, one of the dollars might be off, or I might miss a number, and then all of a sudden our till is outrageously off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like there's human error and there's computing error, right?
Right.
And when it's like, computers can't do everything. It adds a human touch to make that perfect. They have to be part of one, It's why, like, if I'm trying to think of an example, like, I don't know, like food processing or something. Like, it can't just be completely from a factory, from machines. There has to be human inspection to it, refinement, right? There has to be this idea of, there has to be this idea of human and computing. I don't know what's the word. It's support.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
And that's not to discredit it because like this video right now is so fascinating. It's like, how in the world can that happen? How can you make this thing that can crunch numbers for you mechanically?
Right.
A typewriter. How can I tap a button, a letter, and then it draws the letter in ink?
Yeah, somewhere else.
How do you do that? That's what I find fascinating. That's why, like, I'm not an engineer. I don't find like well, I mean, it's fascinating, but it's not my interest. My interest is in problem solving, because in this video, I know I'm going on a weird tangent because I really want to talk about this because it's my favorite thing ever. I love this video so much, and I recommend watching it. Zach, I recommend you watching it because it's like you type the numbers in rows, you press a button, which refreshes like it's all these moving parts. Like you saw all the moving parts. How can I make 69 times 69 spit out a number? By just pushing things in, by pushing inputs in. How do you do that? That's what I find fascinating. And the number one thing I find fascinating is that what this is only able to do is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. But somehow, some way, people have found out how to do square root, equations, on something that can only do addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. How do you do that? Well, Zach, the way you do it is, you could watch the whole video because I'm not going to do it justice. It's been a while since I watched it. But you type in a bunch of inputs, a certain series of inputs. You do like addition or subtraction or something like that. You keep entering different series of inputs along with with placeholder numbers within the row, like this big row of numbers. And you keep doing it over and over and over again, and then you get the answer. But the answer isn't on the top where the numbers spit out. The answer is on the numbers itself that you put in.
That's crazy.
I think I can show you in just a second. I think it's like, here we go. See, he's pushing a bunch of numbers and you do it over and over again. And the numbers end up being here, not up here on the output. It's on your dot. It's on your inputs. That's the answer. How do you do that? How does someone figure that out? It's a lot of problem solving. It's a lot of thinking. It's a lot of, if this happens, then how does this happen? If this happens, how do I get this to happen? Mm-hmm. If this, then that. If that, how do I do this? That's what I find fascinating. I find that, and there's this idea, and you go into the comments section of this, and there's a bunch of math nerds just explaining a bunch of things. Also extremely fascinating. And it's like, I joke around like, I did calculus, and it's like, but honestly, learning all these integrals and derivatives and stuff for the main normal person, it's like, it's just not necessary. The normal person doesn't do these type of things unless you're specialized for that type of thing, that type of field, of which case then, yeah, you take those type of things. But there's just no reason for a normal person to learn these things. And It's like, okay, so why does this information pertain to me? It doesn't. And that's why I found calculus stupid. For me, calculus is important for engineering, for all that type of stuff. It's important. But for me, I love math. Math is my love-hate relationship with math, but it's my strongest subject.
Right.
But I don't like math because of the functions or because of the inputting X into Y and spitting and memorizing these different equations and stuff. That's not what I find fun about math. What I find fun about math is why that works, is why they can input a bunch of random series of numbers, spit out a bunch of things, and find the square root, not on the output, but on the inputs itself. Why is that? In the comments section, someone explained like this kind of idea of negatives, like this true negative, zero negative, I believe, where it's, I'm not going to explain it very well because the only thing I know about it is the comment section of it. Mm-hmm. And it's basically like, I'm going to explain super loosely because this is not I'm not going to do it justice. Also, no one's going to find that interesting. But basically, it's like in this type of age, there are no negatives. Like you can't input, in some calculators apparently, there are no, like older calculators, there's no negative input. You can't discern a negative. So there's this idea of like, okay, well, how do I incorporate a negative number into a thing? Well, there's this alternate number where if you subtract 100 from it, then you get this, like if negative 36 would be like 100 minus 36, so it'd be like, what did that be? 54, I think? Mm-hmm. So 54 would be the false negative. So when you input that into a certain amount of equations and then you subtract 100 from it, then it's as if you inputted that negative number. It's so fascinating.
Right.
That's what I find fascinating. How does that come? How do you, like, it's not just me pushing negative on my calculator. It's someone who didn't have a negative. How do I put a negative here with no negative?
Right.
How do you do? That's what I find fascinating. Problem solving. I explain critical thinking, Zach. I love that so much. It's cool. I don't care about, you have to memorize you have to memorize the how to find the area and the server's area and the volume and all these formulas of integrals and all. That's boring. That makes no sense. That's lame.
Right.
I don't care. I really don't.
But when you have that moment where it's you're actually solving a problem, like you're not just putting numbers in places and like doing all that weird jargony, whatever. It's like you're having to find a solution to a problem that you found, and you found the limitation of what you have, and so now you have to kind of find a way to work around it. And that's definitely a really, really interesting spot to be in, especially with animating, and especially with like pushing animation to a place that it's never been before. And I feel like Ufotable and the people who are animating for Demon Slayer are doing that because they're using AI. They're using super new modern tech to be able to create something and create like a look that you wouldn't really be able to get unless you hand animated every single frame, which would be a pain in the ass.
Pain in the ass.
Right.
For working on weekly episodes. There's just no way, Zach. Like at a certain point, you have to hand the job to the computer.
Right.
It's like everybody's like, oh, the older people are like, oh, back in the day, it's like, shut up. You old hag, like chill over there, relax.
Right.
Yes, I agree that at a certain point, things cannot stop being mechanical and haptic. It can't. There's no way. We're human. We need that. Otherwise, it would just be, keyboard switches, Zach.
Keyboard
switches. There's a term like factory loop switches, which basically means during the process of a bunch of mechanical robot arms and stuff making switches, the different pieces, the stem and the spring, and creating them together, there's a process of which they have where the machine can lube it for you. Factory lubing. Problem is, Zach, it's inconsistent sometimes. It's not great. It can never be as good as hand lubing, right? But so that's been the notion for a long time. But nowadays, some switches have been, the process of hand lubing has been, factory lube has been a lot better. Not as good as hand drawn, but a little better. It's been getting better.
Right.
When you and because of that, they're able to pump more switches out. They're able to drop the prices on switches. You don't have to spend 2 to 3 hours like we did lubing switches.
Right.
It enhances it. It creates better efficiency. We need this type of just robot enhancement. It has to happen. As technology enhances, as we enter. We're not entering anymore the digital age. Like we're in the digital age.
Right.
There's no more like there's no bullshit like yes, this is good, but this used to be better. I mean, yes, that's true, but you have to make the compromises. You have to understand that not everything is going to be perfect, but you can get damn near perfect, and you could be faster at it.
Right.
I've gushed about this manga before, but Oshinoko, which is about showbiz and stuff and all that type of stuff, which everybody reads it because it's so fucking good. But there was this part where it's like this mangaka who she has a really top selling manga apparently, and she gets a 3D drama playwright for it, and then she goes to see the playwright or like the rehearsals, and she's like, this is not what I had envisioned. This is not what I had in mind.
Right.
Like there's no way that this could be this doesn't reflect what I had at all. But, and this is a bit of spoilers for it. Everyone chill. Okay. Spoilers. Kinda, but not really, but kinda, but not really, but kinda.
But kinda.
But kinda. I don't know how much you know about theater in Japan, but they have this thing called like 4DX.
Okay. I'm not familiar.
Okay. You know what 4D, right? The gimmick of 4D, right? Shrek 3 in 4D back in Disneyland, where you're watching Shrek and then you get this feeling of water splashing in your face, and that type of idea, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds like a gimmick, but in Japan, it's a whole nother fucking level.
Shit.
So it's like, yeah, it has those things and those elements, but it has like moving screen, like a 360 degree articulating screen to encompass and to showcase the set, so that way you don't have you've been in drama before, right? Like changing the set takes a long fucking time in between scenes, and one can argue that it breaks the immersion. Like you have this act or whatever, and you do this thing, and then the curtains fold, and then you have to, like change the set and rearrange and everything and get ready and stuff. And that's like a handful of, it's enough to break the immersion just a little bit. Remind yourself that you're in a play right now. Like you're watching a performance. Like it's like, okay, when's the next scene going to start? And I've seen plays before, and I've seen your plays or maybe some of your plays, but plays in Prairie and stuff like that. And it's not, you can have a fun time too, but the fact of the matter is that, there is that in-between time. Sometimes there's those little delays that might break the immersion a little bit. But, what it argues is that there's all of these different types of elements in 4DX in Japan theater that break that stigma. And that's the help of digital, and that's the help of technology. And when that happened, and when that mangaka saw her, she went to watch a 4DX play herself. And then she was like, wow, this is an interesting experience. I didn't imagine this. And then now she saw how the playwriting direction of her manga, how that light is actually brought up in a different way. How it does actually reflect, how it can reflect her vision a little bit. Or it can reflect her vision, but on a different media, and how it can still make sense.
Right.
So basically, that long rant that didn't make any fucking sense is just, you have to make these compromises. When you're working with a group of people and a group of team, like you have to push deadlines, and you have to meet unrealistic standards. If you're a manga who publishes a manga weekly,
right?
Weekly,
that's fucking insanity. I can't imagine.
You can't, because if you ever, I don't know if you want to watch animes or watch, or read manga on it, but it's always just like this trope of just, they're busting their ass off, barely making deadlines of their manuscripts, final products, all that type of stuff. Oh, sleepless nights of a team of by themselves, that type of thing. It's just like, this is not healthy, and it's rough. And that's just been the general consensus. And that's why I always say to remind yourself that when you look at maybe a not so great episode of an anime or not so great chapter of a manga, remind yourself what kind of fucking work they had to do to make that. They probably finished the final draft of it like the night of serialization, dare I say.
Yeah. Yeah, and the amount of work that they put into every single little detail. And like we've been sitting here gawking about the detail in Demon Slayer, for example, and like, you got to think that there's someone who is doing all of this cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who are spending hours in the sound booth or like in the recording booth, just doing take after take after take after take to make it so that it is the performance that we end up with. And also, even further than that, the people who are drawing these characters, the people who are animating these scenes, they're busting their asses to try to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's frustrating for me to see these people who are just kind of jumping ship, especially for Demon Slayer, because the first couple episodes were not that good when they were just like...
No, Zach, you can say that the people said that it was bad, because I know the general population thought it was boring and stupid and lame and slow and garbage.
Which is bullshit.
Because while those episodes were airing, they're probably working on episode 10.
Yeah.
Like they were probably working on all these episodes, and they're probably figuring things out on the go, on the fly, trying to cater to an audience that doesn't like their series right now,
Yeah.
How do we how do we bring that fan base back? How can we keep every audience engaged every week? A lot of meetings, Zach, a lot of boardroom meetings, 100 floor, that.
Yeah.
A lot of directing. It's an anime, but there's a director, producers. How do we do this? How can we make every single episode engaging? It's hard to do that. It's hard, Zach. It's a lot of work. And I'm not saying like, oh, just because there's a lot of work put into it, then every anime should be good. No, there are still bad animes. And whether how much work they put into it, it's sad to say, but just the production just wasn't there. They did it poorly. And frankly, I would say, okay, then just try the source material out. If it was good enough to get an anime, then the source material was probably good.
Right.
At the very least. And usually that is the case. So it's just like, but you have just remember before you ridicule studio staff members on like Twitter or some shit like that, or they're trying their best to satisfy a not easily satisfied crowd.
And the impossible task of trying to make everybody happy is like that weight is just on their shoulders. And so you kind of have to understand like they can't make everybody happy.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I were sitting here saying like the first couple episodes of season 2 were good. I liked them a lot. But also I probably liked them for a different reason. And like, if you look at it from the eyes of like, the way that you and I see all of the shows that we watch together, it's like, the storytelling elements, the character development, and like all of these nitty gritty little tiny details that end up making the story so good. Some people are there for the fight scenes and like, all the stereotypical like, this is badass. But, if it doesn't have that character development and it doesn't have that like engagement and like the emotional investment in the characters, then the fights don't mean anything, And if there's no stakes, then what's the point? Yeah. And so like I think at least for Demon Slayer, those episodes needed to happen for us to get that payoff. And they ended up doing it in a way where they were able to save the budget and like do all that kind of stuff that we were joking about earlier. But also, at the end of that, they were able to turn it into something that was just absolutely spectacular. And this is one of those shows where I'm like, my expectations were very high and they ended up blowing them out of the water. So it's like, it's really, really, really crazy.
Don't be afraid to embrace technology. Don't be afraid to embrace the new comings, the advancement of tech, the advancement of how anime will be animated. I mean, it will never be just 3D. I don't think that'll ever change. It'll always be 2D, but 3D will help it. It'll always be hand-drawn, but computers will enhance it. Efficiency will increase. Animation and production value will increase. Because of that, budget will increase. Time management will increase. A lot of people's mental health will increase, perhaps, maybe, hopefully. A lot of mental strain, a lot of mental drain, a lot of everything will just be good. But, compromises are going to come.
Right.
You have to understand that. You have to understand that nothing can just be the same forever. Cassettes are cool, but like it's just not optimized. It's not great.
Yeah.
It's just they're awesome. Vinyls are awesome. They're cool and they're awesome and
right.
And they're an anecdote of time.
Right.
Where we came from, and it's awesome.
And even with that being said, though, like even with the vinyl record example, the way that they were able to take advantage of the technology of the time to make it so that something like this was possible, it's really, really cool and it's really fascinating. And, like this to this to that,
Cameras,
like the progression. And it's really cool to be able to kind of have a front row seat of the progression of animation and the progression of the ways that people are able to tell a good story. And so I'm excited to see what the next season of Demon Slayer is going to look like.
I am as well. Hopefully we get some I don't know, more teasers and such, but I'm sure it'll take a little bit. I don't know, but I would probably say next year or so. Probably we'll start seeing some start seeing some lookers. But yeah, thank you everybody for listening. We're gonna end it here. Has been a long talk. Thank you for listening. There's things down in the description. Check out our socials. Check out our Patreon if it's ready. Check out our coffee. Everything helps. And yeah, do you have anything to say, Zach?
Watch Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
Be good people.
You know, I'd like to get you to watch Jujutsu Kaisen. I think we should watch Jujutsu Kaisen. Because I said I was going to start Jujutsu Kaisen, maybe after Oregaru. But then after Oregaru, I think I said we're going to watch Silent Voice. And then maybe then we'll watch Jujutsu Kaisen because the movie is coming out soon. And I'm like, ooh, kind of want to watch the movie. But I don't know. Actually, there's like 24 episodes in the show. So, but it's also a really hype show. Like I explained before, it was the Demon Slayer of 2020. So it's like, or 2021 rather. So yeah. But yeah.
Bet.
Watch normie anime, have a time, embrace technology, and remember to stay grounded, stay humble, stay you.
Stay sexy.
Yes. Bye, everybody.